I gave my day-to-day job. But I think that honestly, if you're not giving, again, if you're not giving it that kind of effort and that kind of love, then it's not going to go anywhere. And I think we fail because we're not giving it the same effort that we give the day-to-day job.
True.
When you're working for someone else and you're working and you get up at 6 o'clock and you're at work by 8 and you're doing your job and you work till 5 and then you get home and it's like you're smoked and you don't want to do it because you just worked all day. Well, you got to do it. Like right now I work, I do drug, alcohol, and GPS monitoring for the courts where I live. And I get home every day and I spend an hour and a half to 2 hours focused on my brain and on my things.
So what are some specific roadblocks and resources that you would advise new entrepreneurs to look out for?
Don't look for the quick buck. Don't look for, like, everybody and their brother has hey, I can get you an SEO. I'm an SEO expert. I'm a this expert. I'm a that. Not everybody who says they're an expert's an expert. Take the time, sit back, be patient, and vet the people that you're going to do business with. And look, I'm a veteran. I love my veteran community, but I don't do work with veterans just because they're veterans. They have to be able to do the job as well. You know what I mean? I mean, I'll put them in place to choose from because they're a veteran, but they got to show me that they're worth it too. You know what I mean? Just because you're a veteran doesn't get you the job. And I think that's a big problem with veteran entrepreneurs nowadays too, is we expect the entire veteran community is just going to jump in and start buying our product or using our services or whatever. We haven't given them a reason to. And just because you're a veteran doesn't give them the reason to use your stuff. You have to show them that it's worth it. We have to create value.
Yeah, because being a veteran, it just sets the bar, to a certain place. And to me, it's like you should live up to that standard.
Yep. And then and it's the thing is especially being part of the veteran community, you automatically assume that we're all supposed to have the exact same levels of integrity, honor, personal courage, all of that. Not all of us do. Not everybody who joins the military. Yeah. Not everybody who joins the military buys into, and allows themselves to be indoctrinated. You know what I mean? And that's a good thing to be indoctrinated in the military mindset because it makes you professional and it makes you excel and it makes you not accept defeat in any area. Like you're willing to go get it done.
So how do your personal values and beliefs play into business, and how would you advise others to incorporate theirs into their business?
I'm a big fan of, if I'm living it in my personal life and my personal life is successful, then why am I not doing it in my business life? Okay. So if I'm using integrity, like a specific level of integrity, like we don't lie to our kids. We don't tell them lies at all. Like we didn't go into the whole, like any of the normal stuff that parents tell their kids about, and we just didn't do it. You know what I mean? And so, and I'm not going to lie to people. Like I'm not going to sugarcoat it. If I don't like what they're doing, I'm going to tell them, hey, look, that doesn't work for me. This is why. You know what I mean? But again, if I have these values that are working again in my personal life, where I'm watching my kids grow up and they're excelling, my kids are doing great things. My wife and I have a great marriage. I own a home for the first time in my life. We're a 2-car family. We have a swimming pool. We live on a 22-acre farm. I'm apparently doing something right ethically and morally in all those areas. Then why would I not use those same exact things in my business life?
Right.
And if you're honestly, and then this is the thing I tell people all the time is like, look, if you're doing the same thing over and over and over again, and you're constantly getting crap results, stop blaming everybody else and look in the mirror. What are you doing wrong?
Yeah. Yep. So is there something that you wish you had done earlier in life that you did not do?
I wish I had gone to college when I was younger. I'm glad I did it, now. I mean, I used my GI Bill after I got out. I was in my 40s. And I went to college, got my bachelor's degree. I'm registered for grad school right now. I wish I had done it when I wish I'd, finished high school and gone straight into college and got it done. But I don't know that had I done it back then that way, that I would have given it the same effort that I gave it now. I wasn't disciplined enough to go in there and give it the same effort. And so I try to spend a lot of time. That's really the only thing, because I try to spend a lot of time not focused on what I didn't do when I was younger, because I wouldn't be who I was today if I hadn't made the choices and the mistakes and the successes that I did back then.
Sure. So as far as transitioning out of the military, what kind of hurdles did you have to overcome? You mentioned the PTSD and
yeah.
so forth. But what hurdles specifically?
Actually, this is where I'm going to probably tick a lot of people off. I had an amazingly simple transition. But I put a plan in place. I went through the ASAP programming that we went, the Army, or not ASAP, the Army alumni program that we went through, where you're on your way out, and I did that, and it was solid, but nobody who was teaching it really gave a crap. You could tell just by the way they taught and their attitudes. So I set my own plan in place, which I ended up adding about a year after I retired. I edited the book and added a new chapter on how I transitioned to create that model for people. But literally I made sure that I had a civilian mentor, because we're a different person now. We're not civilians anymore. We're veterans. The pure definition of the name civilian, of the word civilian, is literally those who haven't served, and veteran is someone who has served. And so because of that, I made sure that I had a civilian mentor, someone who was tied into that local community job market, all of the markets I wanted to be into. And they could help me change that my vocabulary to a way that wouldn't be offensive and block doors for me. And so I did that. And then I made sure that I also had a veteran in that local community that I could connect with, that could get me connected into my local resources like the VA, the VFWs, the American Legion, someone who was already versed in all that, who had already been out for a little bit, who was already being successful at their transition. I made sure that I had a solid resume that could be edited, that I could adjust for the job that I was going for, depending. I made sure that, when I was transitioning, that I had all of my stuff in to be. When I got out, it was, sorry, my wife just tried to call me. I walked straight into, we found a house, we were offered a job. Was right there. Like, I never missed. I had guys that got out of the military and they complained about for 6 months they didn't get a paycheck because the VA didn't pick them up and the DoD stopped paying. And so when I got out, I went straight into the VA as 100% disabled, and I never missed a check. That check came in every single. And I had no problems with it. So, and it's just, like I said, I have a lot of guys that just, they struggled when they got out because they didn't get paid. And I didn't have any of that. You still there?
Yeah, kind of losing you there for a second.
Sorry about that. So, I had a pretty easy and pretty successful transition.
So as far as those answers, did you already kind of like line them out? You didn't stumble upon them like most people do.
I just, I had my med board was about 2.5 years long in process, and so I had a lot of time to prepare. I had a lot of time to sit back and go, what's going to be a successful way to do this? And then I went to, like I said, I had multiple people that I had served with that were already out, and I was like, hey, what would you change when you got out? What would you have done differently on the way out? And I took that, and I did my research ahead of time, like we're supposed to do. And I prepared myself. I really did. But it really broke down to not just trying to get out and go do it, because a lot of us, like, we get out, and next thing you know, you don't have a job. You have no place to go. You haven't done a resume. You haven't tried to even look for work before you got out of the military. And it was weird because I had never, when we got our house in Tennessee, the first one, it was the first time that I'd ever done something where we went and looked at it, we liked it, and then we did everything online to try to get into it. I'm used to working hand in hand with realtors and with, landlords and stuff like that to get that done. And this was the first time where, we went back to Georgia and we were doing everything through email, trying to lease this house. And it was weird because when I got out, I had all the leave saved up, and it usually takes 60 to 90 days to get that paid out. I got it in less than 30 days. It was deposited in my account. My final travel voucher and my Diddy move was in 15 days. Like, everything happened way faster than it normally does for anyone else, and it was just weird to me. But again, what I did to myself is I really spent a lot of time prepping to get out, so that when I did get out, I would have everything in place.
Yeah, very smart, very smart.
Thank you.
So when you were starting your business direction, maybe talk me through, what that looked like, what that process was.
Well, I kind of just like swung from the seat of my pants at first. And I just kind of just like, I wrote the book and I was like, hey, I'm going to write a workbook. And then, hey, I'm with the workbook. I just started doing stuff and talking to people about it and then getting people to get excited and just, I really didn't put a lot of forethought into it. Like I did everything else in my life and I just went with it. And I mean, there was some success. I mean, cause it's, I gotta say, I love what I do and I have a lot of knowledge about it. But it's just, it wasn't going as well as I wanted it to because I wasn't giving it the preparation and the support that it needed. And then I would do like sporadic, endorsing myself on Facebook and doing, trying to sell things and push my book out there to get people to know about it and all that. So I really needed to, I needed to sit back, and I had another veteran that I work with. He's a buddy, he's a mentor. And we sat down and I was like, hey man, like I'm at a point where I don't want to work for anybody else anymore. I want to work for myself. I want to get what I'm doing up off the ground. And he blew me away because I already knew the answer, and he just said it in a very blunt, very straightforward way. And he was like, look, man, the days of someone walking up going, hey, I believe in what you're doing. Here's $500,000 to start your business is gone. No one's doing that anymore. So you can sit there and look for all the resources and all the stuff you want to start your business. You just need to get out there and do it. Because if you're not giving it the same labor of love that you're giving your day to day, he goes, it's never going to happen. He goes, how much time are you spending every night when you get home? How much time every weekend are you spending on your brain, on your stuff? And I'm like, well, okay.
So what compelled you to go into the direction that you did?
I have a heart for people. I want to help people find their way to heal. And it's sitting around watching people. Like one of my key phrases is, get up off the couch. Because we get stuck in a rut where we sit on the couch, we're watching Netflix, we're playing video games, we're watching movies, doing whatever, eating Cheetos and nachos and just, not living life. But it gets real easy to get stuck in that comfort zone where you're just, bills are paid, I'm okay. Well, why aren't we thriving? Because when we were soldiers, we were thriving. Our design was to always improve your foxhole. It's always to move forward. It's always to improve what you're doing. And we're not doing that when we get out. We're just sitting on our butt because we don't have a mission anymore. And so create a mission. And so that's where, for me, it was, I wanted to create my own mission because I don't want to do it. I don't want to do somebody else's mission. I want to do my mission. And so I literally got to a point where I was just like, how am I helping people heal? Because I know what I've done for myself and I know how it's worked. So how am I using that to help other people do the same thing? So that's really where it all boiled down to.
Do you think there's some other kind of profession that you would potentially see yourself going into, or is this pretty much where you need to be?
This is what I want to do. I'm in grad school for pastoral counseling with a focus in trauma. And then I'm hoping that afterwards I may either go for another master's or a PhD in a similar field. But my goal when I wrote the book originally, when I got out of the military, my plan was to become a pastor. And now I'm at a point where I want to be a pastor, but I don't want to head a church. I want to use it to where I can help people find that journey, that path of healing, and just find a way it's a positive way to influence their life and their family's lives.
Oh, very good. So, what would you describe as your greatest character strength?
I would say that my greatest character strength is that I don't quit no matter what. I'll take the defeats and I'll find out what didn't work and what I did wrong or what just didn't happen right. And I'll adjust off of that and I'll move forward. I don't like I have a lot of times where people will come up to me and like, dude, like you were so successful at everything you're doing, yada, yada. And I'm just like, no, it's not true, man. You just don't see all the failures, because as soon as I fail, I learn from it and I move on. I'm not going to sit there and just harp on the fact and beat myself up over something that didn't work. I mean, my goal was to, and before I went back in the Army, my goal was to be a rock star, and it didn't happen. Like I failed. I didn't make it. I ended up back in the Army. I ended up in Iraq. And so, but I think my biggest strength is that I don't get defeated when I get defeated. You know what I mean? Like when something bad happens or something doesn't go the way I was hoping for, it doesn't stop me. I just adjust fire and move on.
And on the flip side of that, what would you say your greatest weakness would be?
Honestly,